My name is Remus. I am the author of the Introvert Teacher. I have been training for 10 years and I'm also speaking on the topics of mastering your message, communicating your expertise, and of course on the topic of introversion. I remember my parents telling me, my mom telling me that I used to cry when my relatives tried to carry me, and so I only allowed my parents to do so. Perhaps it's because I'm intimidated by strangers. I find them too strange, and I'm also very uncomfortable in large family gatherings, and during these periods I would say hi and then I would disappear after about 20 minutes, and much later they would find me in a room on my own or in a corner on my own reading or doing my own thing basically. So I'm glad that my parents and my relatives are very understanding. Perhaps it's also because reading is a noble pursuit in the Asian culture, and because I was found reading a lot of the times, they end up telling me that I'm well behaved or they are glad that I'm reading. It's a good shield against people that I still use today. So I found that reading, apart from increasing my knowledge, it's also a very good social tool. It helps me to center myself and it helps me to get the space that I require whenever I'm traveling from one point to another. After I graduated with a diploma in biotechnology from Temasek Polytechnic, I looked for a job because I didn't know whether or not I wanted a degree. I also didn't know what to study if I had wanted a degree. And I decided after I finished the army, I went to look for a job and I found this very interesting title. I didn't want to work in a lab, I didn't want to do sales of laboratory equipment as some of my classmates had done. They actually did very well, but I felt that was not my cup of tea. And so when I went onto this online job portal, I found a position that they were looking for, a life science trainer. And I've never heard of a life science trainer. I felt, well, why not? Let's give it a shot. I turned up for the interview. They asked me to present on a topic related to life sciences. Turns out that I probably did okay because they hired me, and that was how I started being an educator. My first few months were a bit difficult because I struggled with my delivery, I struggled with my energy levels because I wasn't sure of how to handle it. I had colleagues who were still very energetic, very enthusiastic, even after hours and hours of teaching, and they would ask us to go for lunch, go for dinner, and I always wondered, why am I not more like them? How come my energy levels are so low and theirs is constantly so high? I worried that it was because I was not meant to be a trainer, I was not meant to be an educator, because I had the impression that educators were supposed to be energetic, they were supposed to rah-rah the class and make everybody happy and feel as if they are engaged and interested all the time. This thought process led to my doubting about whether or not I should continue to be an educator. But since I already signed up to be an educator, I decided, why not just go through with it and figure out on the way. Turns out that was probably the best decision I made, because I started to meet more and more educators like myself. They needed space after their long sessions of teaching. They needed some time alone to recuperate their energy. And I learned that, like them, I was an introvert, not an extrovert like my colleagues were. And that is why they had so much energy left over after their sessions, and I had so little energy. Through these newfound introvert friends and trainers and teachers, I found that all you had to do was to manage your energy. And if you manage your energy well, you are able to sustain yourself throughout the day and give your best to your learners, which is exactly what we as teachers and trainers are supposed to be doing. And through learning new techniques and from new people that I met who are introverts, I learned these techniques along the way. I applied them to my life, and I found that more and more I was able to sustain my energy and give 100% to my learners all the time. And so I found that I really enjoyed teaching, I really enjoyed training, and today I wouldn't have traded any of this for anything in the world. I'm glad that I became a trainer, I'm glad that I became an educator, and I'm glad that I learned from these more experienced introvert teachers. Well, I want to work for and provide abundantly for my family and for the causes that I believe in. I would like to see a world where education systems revolve around useful active learning rather than passive learning and people just giving the right answers. I would also like to see a world where people are able to pursue what they do their best in what they do, and make and push for positive change without unnecessary restrictions. Definitely trust God sooner rather than later. I say this because by being a Christian, I've learned that when God created us, He created us with a sense of purpose, He created us with value, He created us to contribute to other people, to help other people. By knowing that I have an identity in God's eyes, by knowing that I have value to Him, I am more confident, I am more assured that I have something to give to other people. And because I know that I have something to give, I will constantly improve myself to become better at giving this value that I have, to contribute this to society as a whole.